Start today in Puerto Rico, where COVID cases are on the rise. Number One Caribbean News, Christian Ramos explains how this will impact travel to Puerto Rico.
COVID cases are rising rapidly in Puerto Rico, and now the island government will require vaccination to all visitor lodging, including hotels, resorts, and short-term rentals. This while the local economy is showing signs of recovery and the tourism activity is booming. The announcement comes as Puerto Rico reports an 11% transmission rate this month, compared with a 1.4% rate reported in June. Recently, the CDC also included the island on their high-risk destination list. Visitors will need evidence of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test to get into the island, and those who arrive in Puerto Rico for more than a week will have to take a second test. The order goes into effect on August 16 and will also apply to all tourism industry employees. Those employees who refuse to get vaccinated will be required to submit a weekly negative test. All violators will face up to a $5,000 fine or 6 months in jail. Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Christian Ramos.
All right, thanks, Christian. Well, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics are officially now in the books. Kudos to all the Caribbean athletes who have returned home with some hardware, and also those who even just made it to the Olympic Games, which of course is an amazing feat in and of itself. In the Bahamas, they're celebrating their golden superstars. In our One Caribbean News, Deandra Hamilton brings us the next story.
Bahamas is thrilled about the golden performances of Shaunae Miller-Uibo, who on Friday obliterated the field in a clear win in the women's 400-meter final at the Tokyo Summer Olympics, and Stephen Gardner, who the day before surged past his competition for a convincing victory in the men's 400-meter final. Both were favored, both were exhausted, having run the event 3 times in order to secure the golden hardware for the 242, which has made Little Bahamas stand tall and very proud. Already there is a Gardner Golden Burger at the Bush Cook, and scores of hilarious memes, including this one, joking that Miller-Uibo socially distanced at the finish line, speaking to the huge gap between Shaunae and her nearest contender from the Dominican Republic. Naturally, there are comments from country leaders, including Prime Minister Hubert Minnis, who said of Abaco's Stephen Gardner, having won gold at the World Championships and then at the Olympics, Stephen has demonstrated that he is without question the best in the world at the 400 meters. And of Shaunae, who hails from New Providence, Shaunae Miller-Uibo has defended her 400-meter gold medal won at the 2016 Olympics in a dominant performance. She is now a back-to-back gold medalist at the 400 meters. Opposition leader Philip Davis also had huge congratulations. The holder of our country's national record and the reigning world champion in the event has added Olympic gold. We send our warmest congratulations to you, Stephen. Your achievements are a cause for pride and celebration. She made greatness look easy, he said, setting a national and area record with a time of 48.36. Congratulations, Shaunae Miller-Uibo. You are now a 2-time Olympic champion with back-to-back titles. We are beyond proud. The sprint season is not over, and the nation's chief has promised celebrations when the pair comes home. And what a homecoming that is expected to be.
And that was our Deandra Hamilton reporting there. Well, meantime, police in Antigua and Barbuda used tear gas to disperse protesters gathered in the capital, protesting moves made by the government to make COVID vaccines mandatory for frontline workers. Now, one man was detained in all of this chaos, following on the heels of protests in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Barbados. A group calling itself Freedom Fighters of Antigua and Barbuda took to the streets of St. John's to make their voices heard on Sunday. The group said it had sought permission for the march, but the Commissioner of Police, Atlee Rodney, said the green light was not given, and police therefore had to step in when protesters took to the streets.
Based on the situation and in the interest of public health, public safety, public order, we denied permission for the march. We communicated that to the organizers. We had written communication to them, and we subsequently had verbal communication to them and explained the situation to them. However, they decided to define the instructions, define the laws of Antigua and Barbuda, and still insisted on having a march in the city. And even having spoken to them several times and asked to disperse. They continue to disobey the law, and that is why we had to resort to disperse them, because they were breaking the law.
And Commissioner Rodney said police took several crowd control measures before resorting to using tear gas.
We had verbal communication with them. We insisted that they disperse, and they continue to insist that they will not. We gave them written warning by putting up the banner, and they still defy that. And that is when we reach to the next level, that we use the tear gas to disperse them from the city.
And in Jamaica, a reggae superstar recently released a new song. Take a listen.
There's nothing like your smiling face and your warm embrace.
77-year-old reggae legend Jimmy Cliff has his own lockdown-inspired song out for Jamaican Independence Day, which was back on Friday, August 6th. Human Touch, his first new music in almost a decade, he praises social media and Skype for keeping us connected, but declares no technology can replace people in person. And U.S. Virgin Islands Governor Albert Bryan Jr. attends the Blue Tide Caribbean Summit we've been sharing with you recently, which took place in Puerto Rico. He met with Puerto Rico Governor Pedro Pierluisi. Governor Bryan shared his vision and their efforts to develop and grow the blue economy in the USVI during the first Blue Tide Caribbean Summit in Puerto Rico last week. During the summit, the two governors talked about partnership opportunities and shared strategies on how Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands can lead eco-responsible business innovations in the region. The governors also talked about export services, technology products, and knowledge in blue economy solutions that could translate into millions annually for the islands. Bryan was a speaker during the summit and said there's an opportunity now to diversify the VI economy to take full advantage of what the marine ecosystem has to offer. Governor Bryan pointed to the increase in vessels registered in the U.S. territory during the pandemic as one indicator of the tremendous economic potential which exists in the marine industry. Governor Bryan also noted a number of capital improvement projects to support the territory's growing blue economy, including improvements to the fishing docks and piers on St. Thomas and St. Croix. And a federal judge has granted Norwegian Cruise Line's request to temporarily block a Florida law banning cruise companies from asking passengers for proof of vaccination before they can board a cruise ship. A U.S. district judge granted the preliminary injunction in a lawsuit challenging the state's vaccine passport ban, which was signed into law in May by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. The state's attorney has said the law aims to prevent discrimination against passengers who do not get vaccinated against COVID-19. Norwegian says vaccine proof is needed to safely resume its cruises. A Norwegian cruise is set to depart from Miami on August 15th. It will be the company's first voyage from Florida since the pandemic halted its operations.